Look at that. We're live.
We are live.
Hello, we are live. Hello and welcome to Handgun Radio. I'm your host, Ryan Machad from the wild woods of central Maine, and this is your home for all the news, information, and discussion in the handgunning world. This week, Weird and I discuss listener dream guns, slingshots, folding Glocks, and more. So as always, Handgun Radio is brought to you by the Firearms Radio Network, and please check out the Patriot Patch Company for their awesome patches and other high-quality items. Visit patriotpatch.co for more information. And as always, shop Amazon using our affiliate link, firearmsradio.tv/Amazon. And Weird, if you wanted to help support Handgun Radio, how would you do it?
I would give all my money to weirdworld.com.
I don't believe that is...
Trickle down economics. It'll work.
Okay.
Or
so actually,
I guess you could go to Handgun Radio or firearmsradio.tv/pledge and click on HGR. But you could also go to weirdworld.com and just, I don't know, put money into your disk drive. I think that'll work.
And there are a bunch of different pledge levels over there. We really appreciate the people who have pledged. And if you're thinking about it, the link is there in the show notes. So, Weird, how you doing this week?
I'm doing pretty good. I was thinking about, you're in the wild woods of central Maine, and I've got 3 trees on my property.
Do you have 3 trees on your property?
I do.
You had a rabbit running around your backyard when we were down there.
Yeah, that still's happening. It's not necessarily the same rabbit. My town is maggoty with rabbits. There's a lot of them.
The railroad rabbit.
They're everywhere.
It's
just the town. It's full of them. I kind of want to pop one and put them on my grill. I hear they're tasty.
Well, we'll discuss slingshots. You could do it with that a little bit later. But anyway, so we can review FRN transfer. If you haven't heard yet, Jake Challen, the originator, the inventor of the Firearms Radio Network, has handed the reins over to the very capable Sean Heron of We Like Shooting. So congratulations, Sean, and congratulations, Jake. I'm sure that you will do great things in the future here with Patriot Patch Company and everything. And I cannot say thank you enough for everything you have done for me. I remember being on the first episode of Gun Guy Radio, or not first episode, like 76 was the first episode I was on for Gun Guy Radio, and that shortly thereafter started Handgun Radio.
I remember discovering Gun Guy Radio because he was pulling stories off my blog, and so I was just getting these tips, and I'm like, oh, it's a podcast. I love podcasts. Let's listen in on that.
Yeah, it was really great. And so absolutely, thank you, Jake and Sean. Can't wait to see what happens here in the future. Congratulations. And
Sean, if you're listening, your first move is to change your title to God Emperor of the Firearms Radio Network.
So I will keep you up to date with any changes or anything that's going to be going on as things progress. This is still relatively new.
Step 1, fire Ryan Machad.
Yeah, don't fire me. No, please don't. So what did you do this week, Weird?
Well, last week, this week I've been running around a lot, but last week I went to a party at a friend of, it's actually one of my wife's coworkers, or actually former coworkers. She's moved to a different job. And he's a shooter. And so it was one of those, like immediately one of those, at some point, the two of us disappeared and my wife went, oh, where are the guys? Oh, I know where the guys are. We were up in the armory. And he's got a hilariously different taste than me. Like his go-to gun is a PTR 91, and I give him so much crap because I dislike the set me pattern rifles. But he loves it to death, and they're not bad guns. Let's be honest; they're perfectly serviceable guns. He also hand loads for it, and so he is living proof that the fluted chamber does make the brass look horrible, but you can resize the brass out of an H&K fluted chamber. Doesn't the P7 also have a fluted chamber? Since this is Handgun Radio,
yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
or no, the P7 or the P9. The P9's a roller locked gun, right?
Yes. Yeah, I don't know. Well,
maybe both. H&K always loved that though.
They do love their fluted chambers. I think it's the P7 sticks in my head on having goofy little flower petally brass when it comes out. But evidently, according to my buddy, you just run that sucker through a full length sizing die and they go away good enough. maybe it's not the brass you'd want to. He's also had a Remington 700 that was set up for very nicely. I don't know necessarily if that's the brass you'd want to use in that gun, but
Right.
but overall, you don't have to throw your brass away when you're using your H&Ks that have the fluted chambers. But I had a bunch of other cool stuff. For Manuel, his carry gun is a Walther PPS, and
The old one or the new one?
I believe I didn't look too closely, but I'm pretty sure it was the old one.
The one that you didn't like with the funky magazine?
I don't like either of them. I really don't. The M2 is it M2? Do they use M2 or A2?
Yeah,
A1?
PPQ. Yeah, PPQ M2, I think, or something
Yeah,
like
I think
that.
M2 was the designation that they used for this second iteration. But I like that better than that. But the bottom line is just buy a car. And I done the math. I just looked at the overall sizes just using spec sheets available and determined that I say to Manuel, because friend of the show, Manuel, he carries a PPS, and I was telling him, dude, don't just buy a car. Buy a car. You're going to be so much better off. And it turns out that I just so happened to have a PM45 in my pocket. So I pulled that sucker out and cleared it and held the two guns together. And in fact, my 45 caliber pocket gun is smaller than that 9mm Walther, the super duper tiny Walther that everyone was amazed by.
But it's some people don't like the trigger pull, because I've had people that have shot my car, the CM9, and they are used to, let's say they probably started on a Glock or something for a semi-auto. They're used to that trigger pull, whereas the car, they're like, oh, the most common comment I hear is, I was waiting for when it was going to go off. I was like, this is the longest trigger ever, or something like that.
It's insanely long. Like I actually did the measurement when I first got my car. I pulled out my J frame because I'm like, man, that feels like a double action revolver trigger, like really light, but a double action revolver trigger, and pulled out my J frame and actually measured the length of travel on both of them. And the J frame is something like half an inch worth of travel that it goes through, and the PM45 is 3/4 of an inch. The trigger goes on for days. I don't mind it. Again, if you shoot revolvers, it's absolutely awesome. But you're absolutely true. If you are used to your standard striker fired guns and pick up a car thinking it's a striker fired gun, it's going to shoot like every other striker fired gun I know, it doesn't. I think that's good.
What's your drink segment this week?
So I am drinking a Vesper, and I don't know, it's like 100 episodes ago we did I was drinking a Vesper, and which is of course was a drink invented by Ian Fleming for James Bond in the first James Bond book, which was Casino Royale. My version of the Vesper is the Fleming's version was, I think, 2 parts gin, 1 part vodka, a half part of Quina Lillet, which is something that does not exist anymore. Mine was New Amsterdam gin, which is a softer gin and really kind of tastes a lot more like a gin that's been thinned out with a little bit of vodka. And then like 2 ounces of that and a half ounce of Lillet Blanc, which is the Lillet that you can easily find. But a lot of people say it's not quite as bitter as the Quina Lillet. I think Quina Lillet had quinine in it, so it had a much more bitter taste. Well, last time we were talking about local beverages, and I mentioned Grand 10 Distillery. Well, and I mentioned their Wireworks gin, which is kind of more of a Genever Old Tom style gin. Well, they use this in their version of a Vesper, which is this and an Angelica root liqueur Amaro. They just call it Angelica, which doesn't give enough description because Angelica is a plant. But this stuff is very, very nice. It's sweet, it's bitter, it's got a little bit of a medicinal taste. And I have this mixed 3 parts of their gin. They recommend throwing some vodka in there. Play around with it if you want to. I don't have any vodka, and I love their gin, so I don't see the need. And then they had 2 to 1. I did 3 to 1 because I wanted a little bit more gin like, and a few drops of orange bitters and a lemon twist, and it is so good. It's definitely got that little bit of sweetness added to it. Definitely much smoother than a dry not a dry drink like a dry martini, but at the same time, it's got a really distinct bitterness at the end, bitter finish, which is quite refreshing, especially with the lemon peel.
Nice. And the recipe, I think you have it here in the show notes, right?
I do have it up in the show notes.
Cool. So with that, we'll head into the main topic: slingshots, listener handguns, and more. So we'll start with the listener dream guns. Weird, because this was the big thing. We wanted to hear from the listeners after the last episode what
and keep sending them in. Come on, this is going to be fun. I've already skimmed over the emails, so this is going to be fun.
I think we gave it like almost 2 weeks, so we've got 3 good ones here, and send them in. I'll read them on air because I really want to hear about them. They're actually, the 3 we have here are pretty cool. So we'll start with listener Chris. You want to read this one, Weird?
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed listening to episode 174. I thought I would share my ideal handgun design with you guys. I'm interested to hear your thoughts on it. Start with a CZ75 compact. Now change the frame to polymer, but the exact same profile as the current metal frame. No pick rail up front and and the exact same beaver tail in the back. Now slim it up to make it a single stack magazine, capacity about 7+1 or 8+1, with the always wonderful CZDA double action single action trigger. Frame mounted decocker, only option, no safety. Add some mild checkering stippling to the grip area, not like sandpaper, but not like silky smooth either. Metal sights top it off with a bright fluorescent green daylight dot with a tritium insert on the front sight, and all blacked out rear sight with a good ledge on the front of the rear sight for one-hand slide manipulation. Chamber at your choice of 9mm, 40 Smith & Wesson, or 357 SIG. Since it's my ideal gun, I'd have one in each of all 3 chamberings. Or,
what do you think of that?
If I was doing it, I would just have one 9mm and one 40 Smith & Wesson and have a 357 SIG barrel, because you can do that. But that's pretty cool. I was going to say there's 1,000,001 variations of the CZ75 out there that I bet there's something close to it, but I don't think there's a single stack one.
Well, and a lot of these things sound like stuff you could get done on the custom pistol smith circuit. Because like if you follow the custom handguns group on Facebook, there are CZs that have been worked on like this. Mm-hmm. So I mean, yeah, it would look really good.
Yeah, that is really, really a cool design. Again, I mean, it's got a lot of stuff in there. Like I love the CZ75 series. Their double action, single action is good. I prefer double action only or single action only, just personally. But let me tell you, I don't mind a double action, single action when it comes to the CZ75 series. I don't mind it at all. And again, frame mounted decocker only. There's a part of me that kind of likes the standard safety, but there is that issue with if you're going to be carrying it, you're going to be having to drop the hammer at some point on a loaded chamber, because the safety only works when the hammer is back. And again, no matter what, like if I got like a CZ75B, you're going to be making a choice, and guess what? I'm only going to carry that gun with a hammer down, not cocked and locked. You have the option for both, but I'm only going to use one.
Well, and the other thing I would be worried about is, I know in my opinion, at least, like on the high power, for instance, it being a double stack magazine and it being sculpted that way, I feel like part of its controllability and fitting people's hands is the fact that it is so wide.
Yeah, I mean,
I wonder how would you change the dynamics of the CZ75 by making it a thinner in a single stack?
I mean, I just think that's one of the. I mean, it's polymer, so that's going to be a little bit nicer than the metal of the CZs. I mean, even the steels. I mean, polymer is just very forgiving. And on top of that, it's one of those, I assume he's dropping the capacity and making it a single stack so that it's more concealable. And again, I mean, you shot my Carry 1911. It's not at least I don't know about what you thought, but I certainly would much rather shoot a 1911 with the full size grips on it. That fills my hand better. It's a little easier to control, and also, and a stainless steel gun versus a scandium frame gun kicks a lot less. It's an easier. My 5-inch stainless steel gun is so much easier to shoot than that gun, but I have that gun as a carry gun, and it is carry so much better, and that's what I've got it for. I carry it. I carry it a lot, and I shoot it at the range, and hopefully never anyplace else.
Right. I mean, and it wasn't like uncomfortable.
No, it's not. It's not bad, and this gun would not be bad. Like even in 40 Smith and Wesson, which is the most barky of all of them, it's not going to be bad.
So this next one, this is from listener Nathan. No, so size. This first one has to be full size, then you make smaller versions. The magazine should be as close to the Springfield XD mags as possible.
That's a good choice. Springfield makes pretty bulky mags.
Steel slide, .950 max width. Slide cut thinner at front for easy holster entry. Slide flat topped and grooved. Polymer frame with steel frame insert that holds ignition system. No finger grooves. Shaped like CZ75 with palm swells, but just a bit smaller circumference and thinner. Sharp, fine checkering on front and back strap. Relatively smooth sides like the Ruger SR9. The SR9 actually feels pretty good in the hand. I like that idea.
Yeah, it's a nice gun.
9mm just makes sense, even though he says he prefers 40 and 45. Large radius curve and sliding like a typical 1911 trigger.
Mm-hmm.
Single action striker fired with striker block safety, lifted by trigger take up, rotating sear like 1911 M&P or XD.
Very cool.
Lead shape, serrated, about 0.145 inches wide, front sight, 0.125 wide, tritium, white outline dot, front to rear dovetail like a CZ75. Front serrations, DLC type coating, grip safety, and single side thumb safety like a 1911. Takedown lever like an XD, loaded chamber indicator and cocked indicator you could feel like an XD. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
that
works. It's personal preference, right there.
Yeah, that's a personal preference. I don't care one way or the other about those things. But you know what? I must say, for if you're going to go with those things, the XD, both of those things are the fact that you can drag your thumb across the back of the gun and feel the back of the striker, and you can run your hand across the top of the gun and feel the loaded chamber indicator, or just look at it. And both of them you can just look at very, very quickly and see that your striker is cocked and your chamber is loaded. Your gun is ready to go. And I love the fact that he's making it, single action striker fired. Like nobody's making does anybody make a single action striker fired anymore?
I don't know. I'm pretty sure somebody does.
The HKP7 was single action striker fired. I mean, technically speaking, the XD is single action striker fired.
Right.
The Walther P99 and the Janik.
See, I can't really come up with anything right now, but
yeah. So I mean, just so many of the times when you say striker fired, you're thinking the safe action style gun.
Right. So, and then barrel ramped with 1911 or CZ75 lockup, removable slide bushing like CZ, cut flush with bushing, threaded type available.
That's interesting. I mean, it's one of those, I need to talk to engineer. Like that's something for someone to write in or put in the Facebook page of I get why everybody dumped the 1911 and CZ75, the SIG P210 style lockup, which was the two locking lugs forward of the chamber that locked up into two little lugs on the inside of the slide, versus what was originated in the SIG P220, which was just make the chamber hood just a big beefy block and use the ejection port as your locking lug surface. Like that's just that was a brilliant design. Whoever was the person that came up with that, to just use that, because you're taking two, items that are going to be on your gun no matter what, and turning them into double features, and that just makes it so much cheaper to make and just so much simpler. But I don't know why. I don't know if there is an advantage to 1911 or CZ75 or Browning High Power, whatever, having the locking lugs forward of the chamber, if that does anything for the gun overall.
Yeah, it's an interesting. I mean, I like his concept there.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of reminds me of a modified SR9, basically,
Yeah,
with a lot of modifications.
yeah. I mean that's a cool thing about our listeners. Like, if you're listening to this show, you're geeky about the mechanics of guns, which means you've spent some time thinking about the mechanics of guns.
So the next one and the last one here is listener Doug, and you want to read this one, Weird?
Sure. All right. I'm going to buck the trend here. Good man, Doug. Good man. I love bucking the trend. My ideal handgun is a 6-shot 357 Magnum revolver, stainless steel frame, about the size of a Colt Detective Special, 2.5-inch barrel, but ideally it would have interchangeable barrels like the old Dan Wessons. Double action only, with a pull of about 9 pounds. Shrouded hammer. Total weight would be a bit over 20 ounces. Sights would be fiber optic front, available in various heights. Drift adjustable Novak rear sights, plain black, no dots. Stocks, boot style grips. Cylinder release, Ruger style. Love it. Love it.
That's something you would buy.
My only thing is, again,
It'd have to be in 454, right?
no. I mean, 357, as far as 454 is kind of you're trying to prove something, or you're planning on shooting something that isn't people. Like, again, like if I was going to carry my 454 whenever I get it, and it's going to happen, I'm going to get that damn gun. That's going to be I'm in bear country. There are things that are bigger and tougher than people. You don't need to lob a 454 Casull at a human being. 45 Colt is more than enough. Especially a hot loaded 45 Colt, more than enough. So that's a bear gun. That is a bear gun, or a dump truck gun, or whatever you want. 357, when it comes to just an anti-personnel gun, 357 is really kind of an ideal. It is powerful enough for it to be a force to be reckoned with, but it's not like 44 Magnum's also a great anti-personnel round, but it's way more powerful. It's got a lot more recoil. You need a lot bigger gun. 357 is kind of a sweet spot. The only change I would make on this is I would try to put it in a polymer frame. Like, maybe have a stainless steel frame window, but have the lower frame be polymer, and just so you can have that weight reduction. Doesn't need to be quite as heavy, and also give it something to flex on so that it wouldn't have as punishing recoil as, because this gun would be a dream, but this gun is not something that you're going to shoot full house 357s all day with. Your hand's going to get awful tired.
Right. So then finally we have listener Jeff sent this in. And this is not his ideal handgun, but check this link out, Weird. Have you ever seen one of these? It is a Claridge S9 high-tech stainless, new in box. It's on Gunbroker. 4 magazines and 9mm. It looks like a space gun.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember if I have seen one of these. It almost looks like a Tech 9 made by someone who likes guns.
It looks like look at that digital writing on the side. What is that called? What's that font?
Oh, I don't know.
It's like the font that's on your alarm clock.
Yeah.
But anyway, it looks like it takes Beretta magazines.
Oh, it is. It does. I didn't know. I just clicked on the larger image, and yeah, it does have that.
It was used by Arnold Schwarzenegger in Total Recall.
Oh, that's where I've seen that. I'm like, I've seen this. I don't think I've seen one in person, but I think I've seen this gun. And yep, that was the gun used by Arnold Schwarzenegger and Michael Ironsides.
Look at that. Okay, so I looked it up on Wikipedia. It's the Claridge and its antecedent, the Gonks high-tech long pistol, designed by Joseph Claridge, a telescoping bolt design encased in a tubular upper receiver, forged steel frame, button rifled match barrels, and 16-round magazines. They were made from 1990 to 1993, blowback operated.
Oof, 1990, 1993. That's a rough time to make a gun like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, it looks like they had some with different. Okay, so that weird futuristic barrel attachment is just a screw-on barrel attachment.
Yeah, I was just noticing that big knurled lug up front is that definitely is going to pop the barrel off. And
So
probably
yeah,
how you get the gun out, take the gun apart.
so they in 1993, Claridge High Tech was forced to cease operations due to the government outlawing the guns in the state of California. No firearms based on that design have been produced since then, probably for good reason.
Yeah, I don't know
But
if
it
I
was
would.
cool.
I don't know if I'd spend the 4.5 grand that they're currently asking for it, but
Oh wow,
if I saw this at the gun in the gun case for $500, maybe $600, I'd have to think long and hard before it didn't come home with me.
this must have been one of the special kinds, though.
Well,
For it to sell, it's sold for that much.
yeah, it's got a white frame. That's the new hotness anyway.
So I thought that was
Everybody
pretty
wants.
cool. Thank you, Jeff, for sending that in.
Man, that is a
So,
cool looking gun. I'm sorry. I'm still. I need a moment.
Slingshots weird. What do you know?
Um, I've shot one of the a buddy of mine had one of the wrist rockets that has the wrist brace.
So I had a bad experience with one of those today. Actually, I bought one with the wrist brace, and it ended up breaking quicker. Like the cheap one that I bought hasn't broken at all yet.
Mm-hmm.
The little, I think it's the Daisy F16, and it worked fantastic. But the way that I feel like this relates to the whole handgun thing is, I feel like it's an easier way if you were to kind of maybe keep in your eye, so to speak, like out in your backyard or whatever. Like I can't shoot in the city, but I can go out in my backyard and use, have cans and stuff.
Yep, kind of like me in
So
the bug assault.
exactly.
Bug
Yes.
assault's a good way to get a snap picture. And let me tell you, I find myself talking like Michael Bain when he talks about why he screwed up such and such stage when he went out and competing. Is one of those like, oh yeah, no, I was just looking over the sights on that one, and yep, I missed. There goes the fly.
Now the thing I'm going through here is trying to pick out the different ammo. So like I've tried rocks. Rocks don't work as well as you see in the movies.
No, not.
It's
They're not going
mainly
to fly straight.
right. So I've been looking at like 1/4 inch ball bearings, and I think they have 3/8 inch ball bearings. And then I had a bunch of spare revolver musket balls that I had for my percussion revolver that I tried, and those destroyed a can. That was probably my favorite ammo so far.
What size were they?
44 caliber.
Nice. So they're huge.
Yeah, 44 caliber lead ball, and it folded a can in two, like tore it apart.
Nice.
So definitely check those out. Like I had never actually used any
What's
of
the
them.
range and what's the accuracy you're getting out of them?
I can hit a regular soda can at probably 25 feet, but
Jeez,
sometimes it takes me more than one shot.
Yep. Well, did you ever see that video on YouTube that was going around of the dude that he grew up? I almost want to say in like the Great Depression, but he grew up like in Appalachia somewhere, and like that was his job was, hey, go out and bring us home some meat, and he had a slingshot, and like he was like on like the porch of his house, and there was like weeds out in the backyard, and he was like cutting the weeds with it and asking people which weed do you want him to hit next.
I did not see that. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, I'll dig it up and find it for you. We'll put it in the show notes. But yeah, it's and the guy's a stare like he's got a pair of bib overalls, and I think he's got nothing on underneath them, and he's got these slingshots that he's just made himself, and like just out of like just sticks, and I think bicycle inner tubes, and
I mean, did you have much experience as a kid, or you lived in like Portland? So,
well, yeah, but there's woods in Portland. Like, I mean,
I never got into it. I started shooting at a young age, so I never really like got into the whole slingshot.
I never got into it because I never owned one. So it was literally just if I was over at a friend's house and the friend had one, and we'd go. Like, I mean, I remember going out into a friend of mine lived near one of the sand pits in town, and which is of course where all the high school kids go out drinking in the on the weekends. And we went out into the sand pit. We were just picking up rocks off the ground and just firing at beer bottles and just breaking the beer bottles in the sand pit and bouncing them off of rocks and making them go pow. And
it definitely is fun.
Yeah, and I mean I was shooting it maybe 10 or 15 feet and not necessarily getting him every try, but again, it was one of those like, yeah, no, I'd be over at my buddy's house and he'd be like, oh, I'll bring my wrist rocket out into the woods when we go running around. And and so those times I'd get a few shots off with it, not enough to ever get a practice, because you definitely need to get an eye for it.
Yeah, it's like it takes probably like 10 minutes or so before I'll finally be able to consistently hit the cans. Like it takes once I get started, I have to really kind of get into the groove, and then it's like, okay, I've got it under control now. But so check those out. We'll put links in the show notes. Folding Glock, weird. Have you heard about this?
Yes. You're talking about the one that's got the little doohickey on that connects it over. Looks like it's like a prosthetic leg.
Yes, the full conceal.
Yeah.
Okay. So I will say the newest one we saw, I think it was on Instagram. Somebody posted a video about it. That's where I first saw their new prototype. And I think it was at TriggerCon 2017. And that actually looked all right.
Yep.
For their concept. I remember seeing the first concept where the magazine slid into the front of the grip, and there's a picture in the show notes and the link we have here. It looks like they used a Timberwolf frame and tried to make a super short grip, and that was kind of ridiculous. The folding one, I mean, I don't know. It's violence happens fast. Are you going to be able to get this out of your pocket and try to pull the trigger when under stress like that?
The bottom line is, like, it's a Glock 19 that's got like the bottom of the magazine chopped way off. Like, what is to keep you from not having a Glock? You take a Glock 26 and cut the magazine down to Glock 19 and cut the magazine down to a 26 length. And
you're not gaining any concealability. I don't.
Yeah. Is what I'm saying is like, this is an answer. This is like an answer desperately seeking a question of the. I mean, there's 1,000,001 simpler designs. Because again, this gun, you got to pull it out, and then you've got to essentially reassemble it for just a second. As I think Tam said, well, hold on while I play Transformers.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're not going to have time. Like you said, violence happens fast.
Yeah, you can make, and also I just realized, like, you probably can't carry this with one in the chamber. I wouldn't want to.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
I wouldn't want to. That's way too off. Especially in a high stretch scenario, way too easy for you to brush that trigger and touch off the round that you might have in the chamber.
Well, and someone posts a thing here on Instagram that says the folding pistol is based off Magpul's FMG9. Well, yeah, the FMG9 makes more sense. It was designed as a submachine gun. A submachine gun is not inherently concealable generally.
Exactly. Yeah,
whereas a handgun is
bigger gun. And again, if you want a crazy concealable handgun, just buy a Glock 26. Done. You're done. Buy a Glock 26 and a bunch of Glock 19 or Glock 17 magazines. You can even buy little adapter sleeves for them. And guess what? Yeah, the gun comes out of your pocket or out of your holster, and however you would carry this monstrosity. But the gun comes out. It's ready to go. You've got 10 shots right there of 9mm with the Glock 26, and then you can quickly reload up to 15, 17, or 33. Or 32.
Well, and if you get, like, when I had my 27, I had a +2 extended base plate on one of my magazines.
Yeah, you could do that too.
You can get a full-size grip on the gun.
Yeah. And so you've got that. Like, you could go with, a car, and now you got a lot less shots, but now you've got a really concealable gun. Or again, conceal a Glock 19. People do it every day. What's the big deal?
Snarky Posters agrees with us. He thinks it's probably a stupid idea.
Oh, I love snarky posters.
Yeah. But the next one actually I think is kind of interesting. That Trailblazer firearms. You see that link? The life card.
Yeah, the little folding 22.
Now, someone said that's an AOW, but I think because it unfolds, it's kind of like that Stinger, like pen pistol that Ian was talking about, where it doesn't fall under NFA regs because it looks like a gun before. It has to look like a gun to be fired.
Yeah, that's the again. Don't hold your breath on ATF. If they say this isn't, it isn't.
Right.
This is again for when I saw that when I first saw this. I actually saw both these guns in the same place on Say Uncle's blog, and the comment section was filled with again just the hey, just get a North American Arms mini revolver, which this might be a little more comfortable to shoot than the North American Arms Mini. It's hard to see how it locks up and how it, like once you unfold the grip and get it going. It certainly seems like it's more or less almost as safe as a North American Arms Mini.
I mean, if it's super thin and can just be like tucked in your back pocket. I mean, it would be interesting.
They've got it set up as a keychain. There's one of the images from the website has you can see there's a little hole up at the top of it. That's a key ring hole.
The price point's a little high. I think if they could get the price point lower.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of
sales.
It's a neat design. Again, I don't know if it necessarily meets a need that hasn't already been met by something like a North American Arms Mini. But the neat thing about it is it doesn't look like a gun when it's fully folded up, so you can kind of do the conceal it in plain sight. It might be a cool little thing for, again, it's just a single shot 22, so you got to think about what that is. Like the North American Arms Mini at least has 5, so
it'd be a good little tackle box gun though.
Yeah, good tackle box gun. Good thing just to throw in your pocket for like when you're deer hunting and you come up on the deer and you give it a poke with a rifle. And it turns out like, no, it's not getting up and running away. But at the same time, it's not dead yet. And it's not exactly happy about the condition you've left it in. A single shot 22 is a little bit of a nicer shot to give it one between the eyes than spending a whole rifle round in its skull.
Well, it looks eminently more controllable than a North American Arms too.
Yeah, again, this guy's got a full grip on it, and again, it all depends on how that little handle locks into place. Like if it clunks into some sort of groove or notch or something, and when it's in there, it's in there. Yeah, that's awesome. If it's gonna flop a little around, a little bit back and forth, or it's under spring pressure or all that, probably a little bit better North American Arms because those guns are kind of a pain to control. Especially when you
I love how in the comments here someone posts a GIF or whatever the hell it's called of Ian with the Burgess folding shotgun at Rock Island and say folds in half for better concealment. 1894 had that and in 12 gauge.
Yep. Man, that thing I haven't seen that video. I'm gonna go look that up after the show.
Oh, that shotgun is awesome.
Well, it's cool how quick it goes.
It's got like a spring-loaded thing when you pull it out.
Yeah, I mean, that sucker just goes.
Snarky Poster says, this show needs more hog and gimmicks. Nothing but gimmicks.
Oh, good times.
I do. I would get one of those if they were cheap enough just to throw like in the tackle box or whatever. I mean, they're just for fun.
Yeah, just for fun. And again, it's one of those like, if you need one round at 22, like it's one of those things of the, you're walking around your backyard or you're out at the range and you're going to go set up your target and there's a rabbit or a groundhog or something like that. Hey, guess what? Pull out your little single shot 22, pop it. And there you go. You got something for the crock pot at home.
Yeah, I'm not going to crock pot the groundhogs. Thank you.
Crock pot the groundhogs, Ryan. I've heard
you got anything else to add before we wrap up and close out the show?
I think we're good.
All right, don't forget to shop Brownells using our affiliate link. Head to firearmsradio.tv and click the affiliate link in the upper right-hand corner. Be sure to go like Handgun Radio on Facebook and share it with your friends. Helps the show get noticed. Leave us a review on iTunes. Listen to all the great shows on the Firearms Radio Network, and be sure to visit the Firearms Insider for reviews and more awesome content. And be sure to check out the Firearms Radio Network on YouTube. And Weird, thanks for coming on, and where can people find you?
You can find me at my blog, which is weirdworld.com, and you can also hear me on the Gunblog Variety Cast and the Squirrel Report.
And thank you for coming on. We'll try to do this again next week. I think we'll probably publicize it a little bit beforehand so more people have an opportunity to come watch. But
yeah, it's fun doing it on this platform.
All right, so until next week, have fun and safe shooting.